So this story is a lot harder and also more lessons than blessings.
As sometimes things are.
Yes. So right after I had become a Christian, I was very devoted in everything I was doing. I actually became a Christian when I was already volunteering at my church, pretending that I believed fully and knew.
But it was your safe place?
Yeah.
Like, so you were doing the things?
Yeah, it was natural, but there was nothing inside my heart going on.
Yeah.
So anyway, so I had become a Christian, and then I was naturally already involved in church, so I became like a very proud Christian.
Sure.
And I was like, I read my Bible every day for 10 minutes a day before I do anything. And I go to every church service and I volunteer every week and I am perfect. Yeah. Sometimes I feel that mindset coming back and I'm like, oh, I'm doing so well. And I'm like,
stop it.
Yeah. Relax. Yeah. So anyway, I was very proud. And especially because I had come from a life that was harder.
Sure.
There was that extra. And I struggled with too. I had many people who were like, you have come so far to me.
Mm-hmm.
And none of that was true. Mm-hmm. It was that God had brought me so far.
Sure.
But I did own it myself. I was like, yeah, I have come so far.
Yeah.
Sure. When it was all God's work.
Sure.
But anyway, my brother had still been struggling with addiction that whole time. And a beautiful way that God used his life is my family was not connected at all until he went to Teen Challenge. Mm. And then they have visitation. I don't know if it's still this way, but then they had visitation on Mondays.
Okay.
And it started with like just me or my mom or my grandma, sometimes the three of us. Mm-hmm. And it expanded to like all my family going and visiting at once. Mm. And we started playing games together and just, and so it kind of took this broken family and wrapped it back up together.
Wow. Was he part of the year-long program?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And he had to restart that year-long program. Program like twice during. So he was actually there for like 18 months, I think.
Okay. Sure.
Like once they give you access to go out, the first two times that happened, he went and came back, admitted it, and then they just started his year over.
Yeah. Okay.
But he was proud of his story still too. He was like, even when I was really struggling with it, like God still.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it was this beautiful thing for my family because after I had moved out of my house, I didn't talk to my mom. 6 months we went without even texting each other. Mm-hmm. And to then we all are seeing each other every Monday. We're playing games and having fun and being like reunited as a family, which was beautiful. Unfortunately, after he was sober and out of Teen Challenge for around a year, I want to say, he did relapse. And very quickly it killed him. So that was incredibly hard for me at the time. But I could see right away how God had already used his life so much to heal our family.
Okay.
And that he was, I believe that God was saving him from a life of addiction. And he has a daughter. And I think, too, that would have been a really, really difficult life. She has a wonderful family that loves her now. And so it's easy to see now how God was, how the timing was okay. And I have peace with all that. But at the time, I I'm a very emotional person, and I'm not even sure how it happened. I don't think I'd be capable of doing it now, but I like shut off my emotions. So like after a couple months of crying and stuff, it was like a year where I just was like numb. And when other people would share anything that was going wrong, it was like I couldn't even empathize with them because I was just gone.
Sure.
And so then that quickly led to drinking. I spent a good like 9 months, I want to say, just like working, sleeping, drinking. I took a year off between my bachelor's and master's.
Okay.
And so I came back from camp, and so he died. I went to camp. I was on staff at camp, and everything, it was like good healing, lots of crying and accepting emotions.
Yeah.
But then once camp was gone, I wasn't able to keep up with my spiritual life.
Sure.
And that's when I shut down and eat, sleep, drink, work. And yeah, and it took a long time before I kept it from, like my good friends Megan and Joe.
Sure.
From people who would come to my side and say, I think we need to change these habits. Anyway.
From the people you knew would
know it was
and challenge you to stop it.
Yeah.
We're able to hide from them.
Yeah. So I hid it so that I could keep doing it, basically.
Yeah, right.
And then they found out at the same time around that I decided to, stop drinking, and right before the camp season, get myself right, because I wanted to be doing that ministry. That was really important. But that whole season, I didn't spend any time in the Word or anything, because I couldn't. It felt like facing God was facing what had happened.
Right.
And so the pride really got right out of there. I went from feeling like I was the best Christian ever to barely a Christian at all.
Sure.
I still believed in Jesus, but there was nothing coming. There was nothing of me pouring into it, nothing coming out, because I had shut off my heart.
Yeah.
So anyway, God has been healing that, but it actually took many years for me to even get to the point where I read my Bible daily again. And I was so mad at myself for so long. And I thought, like, how could someone who is so good at it struggle so hard to find time to spend with God and to spend in His Word? And now I'm finally, like, honestly, only maybe in the last year have been very consistent back to reading my Bible. It was like, I think all of that was to help me come to a place where I don't judge other people's walks as not good enough. And it really shifted my perspective of myself and everybody else. Yeah,
because we all walk through a ton of crap.
Yes. And it's not good. Obviously, it's not good to go through a season where you can't pick up your Bible, but it doesn't mean it's over.
Yeah.
And I think that's huge. And the biggest way that it's changed my walk with others too is it's made me become a lot more vulnerable.
Sure.
So because I know Satan uses things like drinking, things you don't want to tell other people, to make us isolated, so that we cannot do anything without each other when we feel alone and like everyone else is doing well and I'm the only person struggling. It just makes you fall into that pit. So now, as things are hard, I'm open with that, with especially with like my small group people and stuff, so that we can all come together and support each other, because that's the only way we're going to make it.
Yeah. So I think my question that I have is, what do you think led to those hard 9 months? And if you were to redo it again with kind of the knowledge that you have now about community and just kind of looking back 2020 perspective, right? What would you have maybe done differently, or what would you have maybe told yourself? Like, hey, do this and this, because, just reading your Bible might not be enough. Do this thing. Like, what would you have done differently? What do you think the pitfalls were? And, if someone were to watch this, what type of advice would you give them to say, don't do what I did, do this instead?
Yeah, I think the biggest piece is talking to someone right away. And before I had shut myself off, before I had even started drinking, I think if I had confided in a community and explaining how hard that it was,
Mm-hmm.
I think I would have had much more support there.
Mm.
But I think also, like pastorally,
Mm.
I didn't really seek out any like
Mm.
authoritative help.
Okay.
Like, because really, when you cut yourself off from God, you're cutting yourself off from the person who can
Yeah.
help you grow back out of it.
Yeah.
Because if at least other people know, you just have that accountability too. Like you're much less alone, which is already a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
But having someone to say, "Oh, you know what? Like I want to drink my pain away." Someone to say, "You know what? That is a valid response.
Yeah.
It's a lot of pain and you want to numb it. You want to get rid of it. It's okay to have the feeling of wanting to get rid of it."
Right.
But really that makes everything worse when you're masking it. So to have someone to help remind you along the way of it's hard to grieve, but to go through it and keep working through those emotions is really you need the people in order to do it.